For me, the main spur to writing this book was to entertain myself, and I think that usually happens when you're entertaining yourself. Your reader's entertained. So that was my first impulse, and reading it through now, after the gap of writing it, sending it around, etc., I look at it and it's much darker than I imagined it was. I actually found some of it quite disturbing I hope in a comic kind of way. And it tells a story, a good story, I hope. It was inspired by the idea of telling lies, and the idea of telling lies was actually inspired by my reading of the Tales of the Arabian Nights, which intrigued me, not so much the tales themselves, but the frame story, the story of Scheherazade, who bravely volunteered to come and entertain, or to spend the night with the murderous sultan, who had been killing a virgin every night as some kind of revenge against women. Scheherazade was going to put an end to all this, and she braved the sultan and entertained him with a story, one of these supposedly children's stories we know so well. We also know that she brought her little sister along, which I find quite intriguing, to witness all this. I don't know how we can interpret that. And she told him a story and then stopped at a cliffhanger. So he couldn't murder her that night because he wanted to know how the story went on. And that went on for 1,001 nights, by which time the Sultan had fallen deeply in love with Scheherazade, so the killing came to an end, and in a sense he was redeemed. And I just was intrigued about this idea of telling stories against death, which is something that we writers do. We're trying to, in a way, there's something about immortality in the writing down of words, in the making up of stories. I don't say we're going to postpone our death, but it's an illusion, and it's an illusion that fascinated me, which seems a long way to get back to Lily Green, who never told stories. And because she never told stories, she never told lies. She had an imagination, as you'll see when you read the book, but she never actually told lies. She never entertained any imaginings about how her life could be. And consequently, she stayed at home until the age of 34 in their little house with her mother. Her father sadly had died. And that's how it was going to be until the end of time, until the end of Lily's time, until one day something got into her and she told her first lie. And she said to her mother, "I'm engaged to be married." And the mother, who's quite a strong and quite a feisty woman, as it turns out, believes her. So Lily is transported by her own lies into creating a supposedly real fiancé. And she goes off to London and she has to meet the man, etc., etc. I think that she discovers that a lie can not only be redemptive and exciting, but it also can lead to all sorts of complications. So this is not a prescription for lying, the book, but it examines what truth is and what it meant for Lily, and how in the end, through her lies, she discovers something about what her life means, perhaps, although it's not a fairy story either. And she meets Tom, who is not exactly what her mother would have chosen as her perfect match, but she's intrigued by him. He's definitely intrigued by her, because he isn't who he seems to be either. And nor in the end is Mother, who in the end orchestrates their final scene, which is in a very plush London hotel. I don't want to give you too much away, but I think it's a good story. I think it's an entertaining story, and I hope that it's actually a thought-provoking story more than the entertainment which I set out to write. I think it was always going to have its dark side.